Hello, welcome to this Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob. Welcome to the Age of Sigmar Stat Center. I should have some like music, that sort of thing. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm your host. It's Monday, which means we get to look at the tournament results from what's happened all over the world in Age of Sigmar, and not loads. 2 events, and then there's an event from last weekend to cover. But generally, some interesting stuff. Not fascinating because, there's not loads of events happening all over, and the meta's fairly stable at the moment, I'd say. But a couple of interesting bits to talk about. Ooh, left the notifications on there. Dijin, thanks for resubscribing. Thank you, everyone, for joining us live. So Tavi Game, what's going on? Get Huck, Shadow Sun, yes. Lord Whale, hello, everyone. Cold Shoulder. Hey Cold Shoulder, the dude you raided yesterday, Spicy, is super chill. Always love when I get new channels through you. I'm happy, man. Dajrin, big love. The meat is fairly stable. Seems like a weather forecast. Yeah, the meat watch is fairly stable. So hey everyone, welcome to the show. How you all going? Hey Duck Guts, yeah, Duck Guts. Hey everyone. Right, I'm just going to fire on with the show today because, as you may or may not know, the TSN is back. That's right. So 7 p.m. tonight. So our normal show is going to start a little bit later. It's going to start like 7:30 tonight. The ban phase, the first ban phase for the match that we have on Sunday, is on tonight at 7 p.m. So I guess that's kind of the takeaway. It's very, very exciting going on tonight. So looking forward to that. Super hype. Really looking forward to it. Oh, Nurgle Matthew. What is going on? Nurgle Matthew, thanks for gifting 10 gift subscriptions in the chat. Wow. Wow. Are you excited about the Super Series returning? I'm excited about the Super Series returning. I'm excited. Very much excited to talk about what I think might be banned tonight. What units. It's quite a difference from where we were last year. It's very exciting. Nurgle Matthew, that is super cool of you. So looking forward to that tonight. That's gonna be really, really fun. You're really, really great, Nurgle Matthew. Thanks very much. So that's on, and so don't forget the live coverage of that is this Sunday. So Sunday from 9 a.m. till I think it's like 7:30 or whenever it is. 3 rounds, 4 matches, 2 teams playing 4 matches across the spread of 3 rounds. So it's going to be very cool, very exciting. 2 great teams, Legio 9 and the Marauders. So that's kind of the big takeaway. And obviously we'll get to talk about on the stat show next Monday, of course, where there'll be 2 ban phases that Monday. So anyway, got a 3-point question for you, Rob. Sure, man. Do you think High Elves units like Phoenix Guard will get squatted from Cities of Sigmar? Now we have Lumineth. I don't think so. 50 Shades of Eshin Grey, I think, which is a great name. I think... Oh, and Lord Well, thanks for donating 100 bits. Whoop, whoop. So don't forget that the coverage, the ban phase stuff tonight will be on the T Sports Network. So if you've never subscribed to that YouTube channel, it will be on the YouTube channel afterwards. But before then, it's going to be on our Twitch. So the T Sports Network is what you're going to want to go and find. That'll be tonight, and then the coverage will be in the weekend. No Game will host it, so you can go check that out as well. Big love. Ban the Gobblepalooza. Can't ban a battalion. You have to ban Boggle-Eye or something similar, I think. Marathi is fucked. Daedrin, agreed. Right, okay, let's talk about the events from the weekend. So over in Wellington in New Zealand, a bunch of gangsters hung out. One of my favourite people in the world, Aiden, ran an event. So he was the TO. Wonderful person. It was only a 20-player event, but it happened over 5 rounds, which is super cool. And these are the battle plans. It was Battle for the Past, Scorched Earth, Shifting Objectives, Knife to the Heart, Places of Arcane Power. I like all of those apart from Places of Arcane Power, but I can see why it's in there. Much stronger for Daughters of Cain. You would normally think Places of Arcane Power, you'd be like, that's a strong one for them. But they didn't take out the event. Knife to the Heart is a great, it splits them up great. It's a really good one. It's a really good one. I really like that. Shifting Objectives, interesting. Okay, so the rounds are 2 hours, 45 minutes. There was no comp, and new Lumineth were allowed, even though the FAQ hadn't been put out. So Aiden just making that bold call. That's super fine of him. He had to jump in as a TO at one point. I was speaking to him earlier. He said he had to jump in at TO, as a player at one point, because of some dropouts and some other stuff. But he said the level of painting was super high. He was really happy about it. And really, any New Zealand event is really an Australian Masters. I don't think the Australians will mind me saying that, or they will mind me saying it, but really, win your own events, boys. That's kind of like the key takeaway. New Zealand took CanCon off you. So, I'm not really sure what you're meant to do about that. But yeah, really important. So, 2 hours, 45-minute rounds. So just nice and pacey, get them done. 5 rounds. Now, it was won by Deepkin. Dom Hein Deepkin took the event out. And this was the path to victory for Bo. So it was Bo who won it. Pretty rich from the nation that invented soccer. Hey, everyone. Number one, I don't care about soccer. I only care about T-sports. It's in the name. I only care about tabletop sports. Soccer, cricket, chess, don't give a fuck. Kick a ball, throw a ball, smack a ball. Don't care. I only care about moving little models around and winning those tournaments. That's the one. And then I just need to say again, a huge thank you to Nogel Matthew for donating another 10 gift subscriptions in the chat. Happy Wargaming. Man, that is amazing. Thanks, dude. I don't know what the love's for, but that's really, really, really appreciated. Like, I'm going to use the money to maybe buy a chair or something equally as fun. So, bless. That's right. If chess isn't a sport, so that's super great of you, man. That's cool. Oh, and Studio J7 got one. Big love. That's nice. Chess is on a tabletop, Ron, but it's not a real tabletop, is it? You could play chess on like an arm of a chair. So I'm not taking it, is what I'm saying. Hey, one of those gifts was for Duck Guts. Nice. Yeah, it's nice. Big Duck Guts fan. Anyway, let's talk about Bo. Nogel Matthew, thank you. It's deeply appreciated. Like, deeply appreciated. Very much so. So Bo's path to victory was round 1. So he was playing Deepkin. Let's talk about his list. It was Dom Hein. It's not a list that we haven't seen something similar before. It's Volturnus with the Void Chill Darkness mount trait. That's right, name character still able to take a mount trait. Weird. Ishran Soulscryer and another Ishran Soulscryer. And then he had 2 units of 6 Morsar Guard and 3 units of Defensive Guard. So that's 2 units of 6 offensive eels. And the reason we call them offensive is just they're offensive when they're in a list. That's a little joke for all the pro players out there. Everyone else, if you're like new, you're like, what? So they do a lot of output. They're generally better at doing damage, whereas the Ishling Guard are generally better at being very defensive. That's how their 2 war scrolls work. It's the same unit, really, buy it in the same box, but they have different roles in the army, which is cool. And none of it really matters, because you just wait till turn 3 and then you just pop all the command points off Volturnus, who stacks up all their attacks. And then because in round 3, they're able to go first in every combat in both players' turns, it's a path to victory, is what it is. And then he also had a Achillean Leviathan in there with the reverberating Carpe, so that's that big bubble of 18 inches on their drums. And that is his whole list. And so round 1, he smashed out Trogherd. Big love. It's a bit unfortunate, I would say. I don't know if anyone would put like a top-end Deepkin list into a Trogherd, but generally the win percentages 50-50? No, it's not really. It's pretty much always going that way. Round 2 was Skaven, with quite a lot of bodies on the board, actually, but you could see why he would be able to go through that with all those Morsar. Round 3 was against Legion of the Chaos Ascendant. There's a cheeky Kairos in there, and a Vermin Lord, but he smashed through that. Then round 4 was Hagnar, Daughters of Cain, which was lucky. That was Knife to the Heart. Now, maybe if it had been Calibron, Daughters of Cain, that would have been an interesting matchup, but that would have been a hard one because of the deployment for the Daughters of Cain player, I would say, personally. And then in round 5, by a whisker, apparently, he beat our man Tubbsy with his Stormcast. Tubbsy decided to take a 2016 army to an event, going 4-1, and we'll talk about that in a moment. So that was his final one, in places of Arcane Power. So, yeah, absolutely. Great path to victory. Some, after the Trogherd, they're all pretty viable armies, and he did great. In the 4-1 bracket of this event, AOS Tubbs took his Stormcast Vindicators with Skyborn Slayers, which is wild. I'll read the list in a minute. And then In third place was Daughters of Cain with Calibron, and then a Slaves to Darkness Ravagers list, which I think is awesome. Slaves to Darkness Ravagers list going 4-1. Slaves to Darkness kind of gets overlooked as a faction, I would think. Normally when we talk about it, obviously we talk about the Knights of the Empty Throne sub-faction that's in Slaves to Darkness. Normally we're talking about Varangard. Normally we're talking about the Plague Touch Battalion. All of that inside of the Slaves to Darkness sub-faction. Faction. We rarely talk about any of the others, and we rarely see things like Ravagers do really well. So that 4-1 victory is actually something of note, as is, of course, the Skyborn Slayers 4-1, which is pretty wild. So let's talk about this, shall we? 1 second. Let me just go grab it. So the Skyborn Slayers list had a Knight Heralder, a Knight Velixer, a Lord Solicitor on Dracoth. Then he had 2 units of 5 Liberators, and then 2 units of 5 Judicators. And then he had 2 lots of 2 Concussors, which is wild. And then he had 10 Protectors with 4 Star Soul Maces, and he had 5 Decimators, all in Skyborn Slayers. Now, I know Chris Welfare from Australia has also been talking about this a lot. There's a lot of points spent on that unit of Protectors. Well, not a lot, but it's 340 points. And the Concussors in conjunction with it. More Marcus Rock, thanks for the gift subscription, baby. What book is Skyborn Slayers in? It should just be in the core Stormcast book, is what it is. So it's a 2016 army, is how we did this with a 4-1, which is pretty wild. And he only lost to the winner, who was Bo, with his top-end Idneth Deepkin army. So I would have loved to have watched this mass all day. Now, I've had a look at this list, and there's so much to talk about, really, that I'd like to talk to Tubbs about it, but also I think one of the things, so I'm going to ask him to come on the show and have a conversation, like he did last time when he did so well with his KO, because he always tends to take things that are a little off meta or a little sideways of the meta. One of the things I think is interesting is the roles that the units play inside of this army, and I'd like to deep dive that, I think, on another show. I think, because talking about the Stormcast isn't really going to be relevant in the 6 to 8 weeks whenever we get Age of Sigmar 3 and the new Stormcast book, because Stormcast will be the first release. However, the roles that the units play and the reason he took them will be a fascinating conversation. So hopefully he'll come on the show to talk about it. If he's listening to the podcast now, I just want him to know he's a legend. And then let's just really quickly talk about the Slaves to Darkness Ravagers list, because I think this is really fun. See you later, Collaroo. Big love to you. Hope you're well. And this is a Chaos Lord, Chaos Sorcerer Lord. These are all Mark Nurgle so far. Another Chaos Sorcerer Lord. Then he's got 40 Chaos Marauders, 2 lots of 10 Chaos Knights, 15 Chaos Warriors, Chaos War Shrine, and again, that Plague Touch Warband. So even though... So he's running a similar style list that we have seen with the Knights of the Empty Throne, but he's going away from the Varangard, and instead he's spending those points on what is comfortably a brick of wounds. It's 30 wounds in that unit of Chaos Knights for only 320 points. And then he's got 2 of those. So that's 60 wounds tied into those. 15 Chaos Warriors. That's another 30 wounds. They're going to have a rerollable save, which is going to be really good. And then having those 2 Chaos Sorcerer Lords means that those 2 units of Knights can have full rerolls on their armor save, not forgetting their Ignore mortal wounds. And that's going to tie in super well to the Plague Touch Warband. Anything that hits them is going to take mortal wounds back. And then the Chaos Sorcerer Lord for piling an attack on death as well. So it's really just a brick of an army that just takes hits and just dishes it back. There's also Chaos War Shrine in there as well. A very fun list. And also what's really cool about it is I think it's pretty much a list that a lot of Chaos players would like to run. They want to run their Knights, they want to run their Chaos Warriors. I think one of the maybe problematic issues is that it doesn't really play in the way that you maybe think, in that it's not going to do tons of damage outside those 40 Marauders. And those 40 Marauders will do a lot of damage. In Nurgle, if they're wholly within range of the General, they're going to be doing extra pip of damage on any 6s to wound, which is huge, because they have so many attacks from those 40 Chaos Marauders. And he's also given them flails as well. So like a really competent list, but it will play in a way that you're not really expecting. In really, it'll be a meat shield that you hit, and you take mortal wounds from it. And then at some point, using the Mask of Darkness spell, which is a teleport, those 40 Marauders are going to be put somewhere else on the board, and then they're going to just blend through something. It's a very, very cool list. I really, really like it. I think one of the things about the Slave Starters book is it doesn't really play how you would expect it to play in some ways. You would think it would be quite aggressive. Maybe there'd be quite a lot of output. And arguably it's got some pretty high armor values, which I quite like as a conversation going into Age of Sigmar 3, where we've already seen a lot of high armor values that we haven't really seen before. Kragnos on a 2-up, new Stormcast with a 2-up. It's going to be very easy to get Gravelord's Blood Knights on to a 2-up if you want to, or even some of their big monster characters, like Manfred or whatever. So those 2-up armor saves are going to be a really good conversation. How do you deal with them? And I think this is a kind of list that you can start having that conversation with. I think is good. So yeah, really, really good. Shelf loathing, agreed. There is definitely an emotional and mental disconnect between Chaos Marauders and Chaos Warriors and how they really work, but they work inside Playtouch Warband. The unfortunate thing with Playtouch Warband going away in Age of Sigmar 3, so no War Scroll Battalion is going to be in place, that's going to negatively affect this army massively. It's going to negatively affect Slaves to Darkness. So one of the things I'm really hopeful for Slaves to Darkness is we get some points changes. Marcus Rock, thank you for donating a gift subscription in the chat. That's super nice of you. Thanks everyone for today. You're all incredible. And we got a hype train. That's fucking rad. So yeah, it sounds like a great event. Big fan of the New Zealand community. I'm really happy that they're able to still play and stuff. Looking forward to maybe getting back to Australia at some point and watching the Kiwis come over and kick the Aussies' ass one more time. Australia, that's just a challenge. That's just a gauntlet I'm throwing down. You got to own your own events. You can't just keep losing them to the Kiwis every time they come over. That's got to be a thing. You got to start taking that title back. So, anyway. Right, okay, so what else do we have? So, last week, there was an event called the Goulburn Smash. So, it was a 1-day, 3 rounds, and I haven't been able to get any other information, but there were 30 players, which is pretty cool. So, I haven't been able to get any more information, so that's the Goulburn Smash. Like I say, over in Australia. And then, Smorgan, it's not my fault, man. Like, what can I do? Anyway, so Goulburn Smash. And that was, there were 3 players in the top bracket. So that was Terence Voller, Hugh Cryle, and Charles Black. Just to give them their shout-outs. And then in first place, this is a cool list, was Terence Voller with his Lumineth Realm Lords list in Ymetrica. You don't hear that every day. And then, get ready, because this list gets wilder. Avlanor the Stoneheart King, Alarith Stone Mage, get ready. And then there are 2 lots of 20 Sentinels, so that's 40 Sentinels in total. Then there's 2 lots of 10 Aurelin Wardens. So like not much in the battle line. However, Zanj, thanks for using your Prime subscription for voting in the chat and for subscribing. Thank you. There are 2 units of Alarith Spirits of the Mountain as well. So in total, 4 monsters. The Stoneheart King, 3 monsters. The Stoneheart King, and then 2 more Spirits of the Mountains. In total, backed up with the Twin Stones as the endless spell, and then backed up by 40 Sentinels, really. So not a lot of boards, not a lot of board control, which is kind of wild. Just those monsters to hold stuff off. A lot of shooting, actually. If you start to look at the shooting attack that you can get from Avlanor and the Spirits of the Mountain, you think, okay, double that up with the Sentinels, that's actually quite a lot of output. Now, it's only a 1-dayer, but this list did go 3-0. So, that's quite interesting. I like that. That was fun. So that was in first place. In second place, there was a more traditional Khorne list in Reapers of Vengeance with Archeon, Bloodstoker, Slaughter Priest, Bloodthirster, and Unfettered Fury. There was 3 lots of 10 Blood Reavers. There was 2 lots of 10 Ungol Raiders as allies, which is a great pick for that first turn move. You know, that 6-inch move to make it so you can't get Alpha Strikes, really quite important because you haven't got quite the pushback that some of the other lists might have. Then he's got Chaos War Shrine, and then he's got the Wrath Axe and the Hex Gorgeous Skulls. Again, this list went 3-0. So, really nice to see that. And then in third place, again, Charles Black running a list. He did super well at CanCon in 2019. I don't know where the date's even. 2020. The dates. Go with his Fire Slayers. He's running Hermdar, Runefather, Rune Smiter, and a Rune Master. Then the Battlesmith. Then 3 bricks of Hearthguard Berserkers. 20 in each one 5 Auric Hearthguide, and the Lords of the Lodge and the Runic Firewall. So we've seen this list played a lot. We've seen him play this list, or we know he's played this list at several events. So he went 3-0 as well. So really solid, really big list. Now, the final bit over in Russia. Over in Russia, there was 8 teams playing 4 rounds at Rise of the Raven. They were playing 4 rounds, and they were teams of 4, which is my favourite, of course. So teams of 4 playing 4 rounds, and the Angry Alpacas took it out. We talked about the Angry Alpacas a lot. They were doing this in real life, and this is their team composition. So it was a host duplicitous Tzeentch list with all of the pink horrors, 20, 10, and 10. So 40 pink horrors in that host duplicitous in a change host with Life Swarm and Geminids. So that Life Swarm bringing back extra pink horrors back into those units. Horrific. No flamers. So just pinning people in. Then there's another Fire Slayers list, very much like what we just saw before. It's Hermdar, Lords of the Lodge. This has got 2 lots of 20 Hearthguard Berserkers and a 10. And then it had some other, it had a Runefather and everything else. But like we saw before. And then there was a Luminoth Realm Lords list, which was more your standard Auralan Legion with tech lists. It had the Cathalar, it had 20 Wardens, and then it had 20 Sentinels, and it had that Pocket 5 Dawn Riders as well, which I think is key. And then just very quickly, last bit, it had a Seraphon, of course, with Slan, Croak, Skink Star Priest, Skink Priest, then 40 Skinks, 10 Skinks, 3 Salamanders, the 5 Saurus Guard, the Vanguard Raptors, which we see a lot now with long strike crossbows, the 2 units of 3 Aether Wings, and then, of course, the Balewind Vortex. So let's just talk about this as a team composition, because this is a great chat for later on when we look at the ban phase for the Super Series. All of this is good. All of these lists are good. Actually, stats-wise, the Teklian build from the Luminoth Realm Lords isn't actually really fighting at these tiers. You would expect to really swap that out for some Idoneth Deepkin. I guess one of the main considerations to think about... Ban it all. See you later, big old fish, big love to you. So yeah, one of the things to think about, which of these lists might get affected by the ban phase tonight, because all of it works really well. I wouldn't even say that there's a particular theme here, because all of it is just potently strong. The Seraphon list is comfortably a singles list that can take out tournaments all on its own, in my opinion. Then the Fire Slayers list, similarly, Fire Slayers list is good until it plays into maybe a slightly bad matchup, and it has not loads of them. Slightly bad matchup into the wrong battle plan. But, of course, in a team format where you can pick at least which players they're going to play against or who you're going to play, the Fire Slayers are an incredible team army. You'd expect to see them a lot. And then the Tzeentch list is horrific. The Tzeentch list I don't think plays very well into singles events at all. It plays well, maybe 4-1 quite often, maybe 3-2, 4-1, but I don't necessarily think it can push itself over the line all the time. But if you can put that into the right matchup, that's just going to pin whole armies back that cannot punch through those wounds. Because you start, it's 94 wounds, but with 40 pink horrors, that's already 200 wounds in the list. Geminids also, but being pinned in and unable to retreat from these hordes is just horrific. So yeah, something to think about just for later on for the ban phase. Nailed it today. That's it. That's the show in the can. We've done it, boys. Any questions? Any thoughts? I think we smashed it. Upcoming events, obviously, there is... I did not put that in my show notes. Usually Owen puts that in the show notes. That's on me. I mean, loads of upcoming events. Age of Sigmar 6 Nations is happening here in the UK. That's really exciting. So that's late December. There's quite a few events happening in England now that we're getting closer to opening up, which is really cool. I'm sure there are more. I'll talk about them another time. Whatever today. Can you explain how protective bans work? Tim's Wheelbarrow. Like, could first pick ban the Curseling so that nothing else from the book could get banned? Tim's Wheelbarrow, 100%. If you... I do not need more bans to think about. Sorry, Dave. Big love to you. Ban show 7 p.m. tonight, if that helps you. Can I explain defensive bans? Yeah, if you ban a unit from a book, then you can no longer ban any other units from that book. And so if you wanted to ban a rubbish unit so you can keep your good unit safe, that's how it works. So yeah, there's loads of events. I'll do a list of the events, but it kind of feels like sometimes like, I don't know why I really talk about it. So anyway, we've also plugged in some of these stats into our stats database so that we'll get a more like comprehensive look, and maybe next week I'll do a bit of a stats breakdown. Maybe, but again, it's just not that much information. When we open up again all around the world, there'll be loads more. Of course, that's exciting. Of course, I can't wait to see what that looks like. The bans are always narrative. That's the important point. The weekly AOS show is also on tonight, but it's just going to be 30 minutes late. It's going to be after the ban show tonight, because that's just when our tech man was free. What does Rob think about Nagash getting worse and going up in points from 880 to 975? I think if you're able to give Nagash a 2+ save, then he's in a fairly good spot. N.A. Brooks. I think 975 is expensive, but some of the other stuff inside the book is fairly cheap. You could have 975 and a lot of zombies. So whether or not like he really pulls his points to help you win objectives, and I guess having the monster keyword, and if the rumours that monsters gain you extra victory points, Nagash probably feels like a strong vehicle to do that. Some armies might not have the ability to do so, so I'd say that's fine. Are all TSN games streamed on this Twitch channel, Rob? No, they're not. All TSN games will be streamed on the T Sports Network channel. There'll be no swearing of any kind, I hope. So it's family friendly, so you'll be able to watch it with the kids, and it should look as professional as we can make it, I hope. So it should be friendly, and you guys, it's watchable by you and the kids, so you can stick it on with the late at night with the family or whatever. So it's completely okay. Have there been any changes to the ban phase since first time around? No, Soul's still exactly the same. What would you ban from Soulblight Gravelords? I wouldn't. They're not the prevailing threat inside the meta. The ban phase really is to design armies how you would like them to play. So, for example, I would try and, if I didn't want to play against a really tough Tzeentch list, I'd obviously ban maybe the Lord of Change, because then you just can't run Change Host, which I think is quite nice. But Archeon's up there for a ban as well. He really pushes stuff around. Ideth Deepkin are probably the best performing army this GHB 2020, especially since Volty got Void Chill Darkness, which was like a big upgrade for no particular reason. Reverberating Car Praise on the Leviathan as well. So Ideth Deepkin right now, since the last time we did bans, huge. But they were there last time. We of our two teams that played, each team had an army full of eels. They're really relevant. They're relevant in the meta. They're relevant in team formats. They're wicked. I would probably try and look at banning Fire Slayers, because really, if you don't have a solution to Fire Slayers, you don't have a solution to Fire Slayers, and it's really banning something so that the how you put the cards in, or how you put the armies in, is going to work out for you. So I think there's something there. Family friendly is massively appreciated. That's okay. Honest Wargamer for swearing. TSN for professional. I'll even wear a different T-shirt. No suits, because Logan will rip me if I wear a suit, and we're not doing that anymore. Nagash can spam Mystic Shield if it becomes +1 save. That is super powerful. Pete, you're getting it, baby. You're getting it. Yeah. Do you think that some team go nuts and bans eels first to lay down a marker? I don't know, man. A Hermanista, that's the exciting element of the ban phase, right? That's what I'm excited about for tonight. It's why I'm excited every time, is us as a community. So when we looked at these results, other than the Metricon list with the coming over from Australia, which is cool, I don't necessarily think he's got the legs, lol, to necessarily go 5-0 at a big event, but like maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the player can absolutely smash it. That's what's really cool. However, generally we know Seraphon are going to do well, Fireslayers are going to do well, Ideth Deepkin are going to do well, Tzeentch are going to do well. We know those things are competent, solid armies. KO, yeah, all of those armies are really, really good. So those are the things you're looking to affect. What I like about the ban phase is between now and Friday, so after tonight, you'll be like, okay, what is the meta going to look like when we get the lists in? How's it going to fun? That's what's fun about it. I'm just talking about the own thing. No, this channel doesn't host bans. The bans, everything is done on the T Sports Network, and then we'll be back on this channel. I might try and raid ourselves. That'll be confusing. We'll do that. We'll try and raid ourselves later. Can we still get T Sports shirts? Not yet, but I'll try and get them remade in the future if that helps. If people want them. If you want them, let me know. If you think banning Morsar stops Ideth Deepkin and you haven't been smashed by a couple of powered up turtles on turn 3, well, that's the point, Scott B. I don't think it necessarily does. I would say that you could ban Morsar. I think Morsar really pushed them across the edge. But then they can run all Alapexes. But don't forget, this isn't TTS, so people have to have all of those. Ban Blade Lords. Just ban them out the game, so we don't have to play against them. So I'll go and find you guys the link, so you guys... let me go and find later on. I'll go find the Twitch channel for you guys now before we leave, and then you guys can go and give it a follow before later. There we go. Oh, nice. Right, I'll put the link in the chat for you guys. Thanks for Rob. So you guys can follow that if you want and check that out later. So that'll be later on. Okay, cool. Big love. Thanks for tuning in today. It's massively appreciated. I know it's a short one. We just got lots to do. And without a co-host, I just don't want to like drag it on for no particular reason. It's been lovely. I'll talk to you guys. We'll be back next Monday. Hopefully we'll plug more stats in. And then I'm going to deep dive a couple of the lists as we see them. So there'll be loads to talk about, which is going to be cool. Thanks for hanging out. I don't think... Should we go to a raid? Go to a raid really quickly. Just make some people happy. Who can we go raid? Make someone smile. This fella with one viewer. Okay, maybe this person with 11. Like that's right. Let's go do this. You're all brilliant. Let me know what you think about. Oh, thanks to everyone on the podcast, of course. Thank you to everyone on who's joined us live, and thank you to all of the YouTube thugs. Let me know what you kind of want out of the Monday show in some ways. If you'd like it to be more stretched out, like I could have gone deep into the Emetrican list and talked about it as an example, or maybe even the Slaves to Darkness Ravagers list. But really, we've talked on the show about things like this before. We've talked about the rerollable saves coming from Oracular Visions on the Chaos Sorcerer Lord, going onto a Plague-Touched Warband unit. We all kind of know how it works. So I think it's only really when something pops its head up that we should talk about, and I think something like Stormcast is kind of relevant now, but really it's a bit of a savant in Tubbsy playing with it, so I don't think it's really necessarily relevant to everyone, but it would be nice to hear him talk about it. So yeah, that's what I want to see. Loads of love. Thanks for tuning in. 7 o'clock tonight, and then the normal show will be at 7:30. I'll see you guys later. Loads of love.